Hi, my name's Emily Magnuson. I'm a senior biology student at UAF. I did my first year of college at Oregon State University, and I've been at UAF since 2012. Apart from school, I've been working for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service since 2010 as a biological technician researching wildlife toxicology. That job's taken me all over the state from Anchorage to the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Primarily, though, I work within the interior out of Fairbanks. I've done several other wildlife health projects, primarily working with veterinarians. That's pictured me in South Africa in 2012, looking at several lion diseases. I'm not sure yet if I will go to vet school. It's something I'm considering, but I certainly know that I want a future career in a wildlife health field. More specifically, I'm really interested in wildlife disease. I live in Fairbanks, where I grew up, with my boyfriend, two dogs, and one tiny little cat. I also have one brother who lives in Fairbanks for the time being, at least. He just bought a small Cessna 172 this summer, so hopefully we'll all be taking some more remote Alaskan adventures soon. I'm taking this course because I'm personally interested in knowing more about Alaska Native cultures. Ooh, sorry. Yeah, so I'm personally interested in knowing more about Alaska Native cultures, but I also believe that knowing more about those cultures would definitely help me be a better wildlife researcher in Alaska, since a lot of wildlife research takes place in remote locations and can often work in combination with the public. I'm taking this course online because I needed the flexibility of not having a set course schedule and having to attend class, so I can work on several different research projects this semester. I'm currently in Evenstad, Norway, doing some field work. I've been working with beavers, muskox, and moose. I'll be returning to Fairbanks September 19th. Soon after I get back from Norway, I go to Northway Village in Alaska to complete sample collection for a contaminant study. And then for the rest of the semester, I'll be in Fairbanks working on a research project with the muskox at the UAF Large Animal Research Station. So I'm not personally an anthropologist, but I do have some experience as, kind of an outside researcher within remote Alaska Native communities through the wildlife biology research I've done and the field work I've done. So I could really relate to the opening paragraphs of the Clifford paper that describe the really varied, both positive and negative emotions that rural in Alaska Native people have about, quote unquote, outside researchers and the places that they live. I've met people who were both really supportive and excited about the research projects I've been involved with, but certainly also people who were really angry at me or my coworkers for our mere presence in their villages, completely regardless of what the research goal was. And I've met people too who didn't even want to hear anything about what we're doing. It was just, a lot of anger. I've also seen the lasting bad will caused by previous researchers who didn't do a very good job and didn't do very good work, either through disrespect, misleading actions, inappropriate assumptions, or really importantly, failure to communicate with the community, both during the research process and after they had their final results. However, I think anthropology certainly has the potential, a potential useful role to complement Alaska Native cultures. The most important role I see for anthropology in Alaska is the potential for cultural preservation efforts. There are really rapid and significant changes occurring in rural Alaska as, what were once pure subsistence-based communities are changing to cash economies and people are moving to cities. as well as the way villages are experiencing climate change, either through significant coastal erosion or storm damage or changing migrations for subsistence animals. Anthropology has the potential to help document and preserve parts of Alaska Native culture, both traditions and language, in the face of these changes. It has to be done, however, with a benevolent intent, with the goal of legitimately helping the people or culture that are being researched. For instance, Clifford describes the Alaska Native Heritage Center in Anchorage pretty repeatedly in his paper. This center is not, as he says, a museum for collections, whose existence is just for entertainment purpose, but it's a space, again, as he says, to facilitate conversations between different tribal Alaskans, and between natives and non-natives. So all of the anthropology work that went into the creation of this center was done with the good intent of creating connections and all the benefit that comes from greater understanding between different groups of people.